Hi, everybody. I'm Pratibha Agarwal. I am an immigration attorney. I'm based right outside of Washington, D.C. in Arlington, Virginia. Our clients, however, are all throughout the United States, and that is because immigration is considered a federal practice. So that means no matter where in the U.S. you are located, we can help you with your immigration case. All right. Fantastic. So I'm here to answer your questions, but I want to start off with a question that comes up so often. This is probably one of the most popular questions that comes up in our practice is how can we expedite our case? It's been sitting at USCIS for so long, it's taking forever. How can I make it go faster? So we have a number of people that call us to ask us this question. All right. And my answer is kind of long, so stay tuned while I talk about it. But sometimes you can't expedite your case. So there are certain cases where you can pay extra and have the USCIS make a decision in 2 weeks, but they're limited to a small number of employment-based cases. So essentially, there are certain employment-based visas and a certain part of the employment-based green card process that you can pay extra. The cost right now is $2,500 to the government. You can pay extra and get that case get a decision made in 2 weeks. So the decision sometimes are basically you're paying extra to hear from the government. So sometimes what they're going to do, like in the case of an H-1B, is you might get a request for additional evidence at the end of that 2 weeks. Once you submit it, they will make a decision again in 2 weeks. So that's all well and good for employment-based visas, right? So that's all well and good for employment-based visas. But in situations, for example, that are family-based, like family-based green cards, for example, right? Or perhaps an asylum application or a visa for victims of crime, that premium processing, that's what it's called, to have the government make a decision in 2 weeks, is not always available. All right, it's not always available for it's not something that you can pay extra to have the government make a decision in about 2 weeks. So that becomes a problem. So what do you do when premium processing is not available for your case? So what options do you have when you can't pay extra to the government to expedite your case? So the first thing I'm going to say is understand how long the process is before you apply so you can plan accordingly, right? So if you're applying for a green card, for example, for your parents in India, right? I'm making this up. Let's say you're here, you're a US citizen, and you're applying for a green card for your parents in India. Know that the process is going to probably take about 2 years, maybe even longer in some cases. Sometimes it's faster, and we always keep our fingers crossed that it's faster, right? But at other times, it's going to take a couple of years. So don't tell your parents to sell their house and get ready to come here yet, because it's a long process and we don't even know if they're going to be approved. All right. And most likely they will be. Of course, most likely they will be, unless there's some major issues, which of course we would identify from the very beginning. But if you should understand the timeline when you jump into the immigration process. Okay, so a lawyer can help you do that. Of course, call us if we can help you with a consultation to kind of walk you through the process, to walk you through the timelines for everything. My name again is Pratibha Agarwal. I'm an immigration attorney, and if you want to have a consultation with our firm, you can reach us at 703-348-1663. Again, that's 703-348-1663. All right, so number one is to understand the timeline for your case, okay? I understand the timeline for your case. Hi, Sunny, nice to see you. Hi, Pyle. Hi, G. Bishop. Hi, Distant Social. Hi, Miss Trudy. Hi, Joseph. Nice to see everyone here on a Sunday. I hope you guys are getting ready for Halloween and maybe doing a little bit of a celebration, at least slightly. Hi, Shell. So let me go back. So some cases, for example, can be premium processed. Others cannot. So you should understand the timeline before you go into it. If you don't know the timeline, let's say you've already filed and you don't really know the timeline, go and check the case processing time. So you can check that online and it will tell you at the center that is currently processing this form, how long they're generally taking. Essentially, it'll give you that information, and then you have a good idea of how long it's going to take and what you can expect. Okay, so for our firm, once we file a case, we keep track of all of this information and we check on it weekly, sometimes more than once weekly, but definitely once weekly. We check on the case and see, is it within standard processing times or is it not within standard processing times? Okay, so we're just checking on the case and we're seeing, is it within standard processing times or is it not within standard processing times? So you can do that too. So then if it is outside of standard processing times, you can submit an inquiry. And that is something that sometimes moves that case along that's stuck. If you have that case that's stuck, it's outside of standard processing times, it will, making that inquiry will move it along. All right. So then let's say it's still stuck. Nothing is happening in your case. What do I do? Right? You can, this is an option for some people, and some people don't consider it an option because they're afraid that they might look bad to the US government, because after all, we're seeking a benefit from the US government. I don't want anything bad to happen, right? I don't want them to look at me badly. So this is a fear that a lot of people have in taking more drastic measures. But what other measures can be taken? What other measures can be taken? There are options. So the more drastic measure would be to file a lawsuit, so file a complaint in federal court against the agency that is adjudicating your application. So that is making the decision on your application, right? And then people get afraid when I say this. However, it's not based on the merits of your case. It's not based on whether your case is strong or not strong. All you're doing is that this case is taking a very long time. It's outside of standard processing times, and you've taken the steps to notify the agency that it's outside of standard processing times and they have not made a decision on your case. You can force a decision on your case by filing this complaint in federal court. It's a lawsuit in federal court against the agency. It's kind of a luxury remedy here, because obviously it's costly to file federal litigation. But if you're stuck and you're in the position to be able to do that, it might be a benefit, because what happens is you can force a decision on your case. All right, you can force a decision on your case. Again, make sure you have a strong case before you resort to this measure, because if you don't have a strong case, the forced decision could be a denial. Okay, the forced decision could be a denial. So if we can help you, if you have immigration cases, whether they're employment, whether they're family-based, call us if we can help you kind of understand the process, understand the timeline, and talk to you specifically, confidentially, about what options there may be to speed up that case. All right, if you want to give us a call for a consultation, call us at 703-348-1663. Again, that's 703-348-1663. All right. Hi, Gary. Hi, Pyle. Also says, do you get a lot of approvals in VAWA cases filed by men? That's a great question. Yes. So most of our clients are male VAWA candidates, right? So VAWA, again, is for people who are married to U.S. citizens or green card holders, and they are victims of abuse. Sometimes it's physical abuse, sometimes it's emotional abuse, sometimes it's both, right? So abuse can take many different forms, but for our clients, many times there is no physical abuse, and they're men. And there's lots of psychological abuse. There's lots of controlling behavior by the spouse, and there's threats of deportation as well in many of our cases. Each case, each couple and their dynamic varies, but these are the types of things that we see as kind of a common thread. All right. So yes, you can be a male filing a VAWA. All right. You can be a male filing a VAWA case. So a VAWA case is a green card application based on abuse. So what would happen once we file is you receive work authorization in about 6 to 8 months and a social security card if you're out of status. This is huge and life-changing just at this point, which is only 6 to 8 months after we apply. And about a year to year and a half after we apply, a petition hopefully gets approved and you're allowed to live in the US forever and have work authorization forever. And 2 to 2.5 years after we apply, what we see is a green card interview is scheduled, and we prep you and go with you really to the green card interview as well. So 2 to 2.5 years for a green card, 6 to 8 months for work authorization, travel authorization, and a social security card. Some people already have the social security portion, so the other parts are a little bit more valuable to them. All right. Great. Hi, Nathan. Sunny says, I have a VAWA pending for almost 3 years now. I responded to an RFE 5 months ago. I put in a congressional inquiry and they told me the case response with an officer, the case is with an officer for review. What should I do? So Sunny, what you can do really is, it sounds like you're outside of case processing times at this point. If you're at 3 years, you're likely outside of case processing times. You might want to check that and confirm. Okay, and I don't know if you filed the green card application at the same time as your I-360, your VAWA petition. All right, so if you put in a congressional inquiry in the past, I do that as a matter of course. Our firm does it as a matter of course in terms of if things are taking a long time. We do that usually first before we file a lawsuit in federal court. So that's what our firm's normal process is. I have not seen huge results with congressional inquiries. Sometimes I have, but for the most part, it's hit or miss in terms of congressional inquiries. Okay. Great. Let's see. I have a few other questions here. Also saying, I'm not saying can we file, I'm saying how many cases do you get approved by men in yours from? We have had a lot of success with VAWA and a ton of success with VAWA. Of course, I'm not allowed to really make these huge statements about our success rates because we don't want to suggest that your case is going to win or guarantee any kind of thing. But we have incredible success rates with VAWA cases, and most of our cases are filed by men. So I can tell you that. All right. And of course, each situation is different, and I want to make sure that we have a consultation before when we have a consultation, I can assess the strength of your case and let you know whether it's like other ones in our firm that have been approved. All right. Gary is saying, I want to apply for my family. Great. You can certainly apply for your family. They said, he's saying, do you help file for family-based green cards? Yes, we do a ton of family-based green cards. And why don't I go ahead and review with you what we normally, who can sponsor whom, right? Because sometimes that is a confusion in terms of green card applications. So you can, when you're a green card holder, you can pretty much sponsor your spouse and all of your unmarried children. So the timeline is going to differ based on your age. Okay, based on the kid's age, excuse me, not your age, the kid's age. So you can sponsor your spouse and all unmarried children if you're a green card holder looking to sponsor. If you're a U.S. citizen, you can sponsor a few more people. You can sponsor your spouse. You can sponsor all your children, whether married or unmarried. Again, the timeline will vary whether the child is young, under 21, whether they're over 21, or whether they're married. So the timeline of when they would come in can vary. But if you're a U.S. citizen, you can sponsor all children, no matter how old they are and whether or not they're married. You can sponsor your parents, which we do a lot of for U.S. citizens. Sometimes we help with their naturalization application. Sometimes we help with their own green card, and then we eventually help them sponsor their parents. So that's actually a really great, cool process for our firm because we get to see kind of the entire family, get to know them fairly well, and help with this whole process. And we can see from one step to the next. And it brings me a lot of joy to see that and to be able to help families come together eventually. So yes, so we do that. And that's who U.S. citizens can sponsor: parents, spouses, any children, and also siblings, brothers and sisters. Okay. But listen to what I just said. The list doesn't include cousins, and the list does not include aunts and uncles, right? So unless they've been adopted, unless there's some kind of relationship that is legal, right? That's kind of a parent-child, or it's a adoption situation, then you would not be able to bring cousins or aunts and uncles. All right. Patrick says, hi, how are you? I'm doing great. I'm, getting ready here for my kids' Thanksgiving. I'm not Thanksgiving. I'm losing my mind here, guys. Halloween. I'm so excited for my kids' Halloween. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go help them get into their costumes. But I am here right now. I wanted to hop on and answer your questions. Okay. Gary says, I'm a U.S. citizen. I want to apply for my brother and sister. Perfect. Yeah, you can definitely apply for your brother and sister. You will have to do a separate application for each one of them, and we can walk you through the process. Depending on where they're located, number one, the process might be different. But we can certainly help you with that. We do a lot of green card applications. But U.S. citizens filing for brothers and sisters, there is a several year wait time. So just a heads up on that. Okay. If we can help you, call us 703-348-1663. Also is saying, I filed a VAWA, but my problem is that the USCIS denied me and put me under 204C. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe, I don't know how strong your application was. You might be able to reapply for VAWA with a stronger application if you believe that, if you qualify, right? So there are certain requirements for VAWA that you have to show. One, that you're a victim of abuse. Two, that you lived with your spouse, right? So we want to show that you lived with your spouse at least for a certain period of time. And you're a victim of abuse, and that your spouse is a U.S. citizen or green card holder. So depending on the reason for denial, I don't know what evidence was submitted, but we can certainly talk with you to see if reapplication makes sense in your case. Okay, 703-348-1663. All right. Gary Vee's asking about fees. Our fee for a consultation is $150. And you can schedule a consultation by calling our office, which is 703-348-1663. Or you can hop on Facebook. We are on Facebook and on TikTok. At Agarwal Immigration is our handle. Okay, it's at Agarwal Immigration. You can go on Facebook and on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. There is a link where you can schedule your own consultation. So you can see what the availability is and you can schedule your own consultation based on that. Okay. Gary says, I live in New York. I live in New York. Okay, great. So we actually have lots of clients in New York. We do our consultations by Zoom or by phone for people that don't want to come in person. But I have had clients from New York drive to our office and have a consultation with us. So it's up to you. It's not a terrible drive, but if you would like to do by Zoom or by phone, I'm happy to accommodate that as well. If you want to give us a call, we will give you a call back since our office is closed right now. We'll give you a call back tomorrow. Feel free to leave a message. You can message us on Facebook. So just feel free to do that. Okay. Again, we're at 703-348-1663. Hi, Derek. How are you? All right. Okay, great, guys. This was wonderful. Also saying it was a very strong VAWA application. So then we'll have to look at the denial letter and see why it was denied, because obviously, if you met all the requirements, then it should have been approved. All right, so let's take a look at it and see what happened and how we would make it stronger the next time. If you want to have a consultation, happy to do that. Again, I'm at 703-348-1663. Just as a heads up, if you know other people that could benefit from asking an immigration lawyer, if you know others that have immigration questions, are confused by these immigration questions, I would say make sure to inform them about our lives, about our firm page, which is at Agarwal Immigration on both Facebook and on TikTok. It's AGARWAL. Also saying, I fought the denial up to federal court. I'm so sorry. Sorry to hear that. So I'm not sure exactly, I don't know what happened in your case. And I don't know, how it was prepared, but I'd be happy to touch base with you and see what happened, to see what maybe we would do differently next time. So not sure what was going on in your case, because we didn't represent you, so I have zero idea what happened in your case. But if you want to call us for a consultation, I'd be happy to chat with you about it, about what the denial was for and what could be done differently next time if you want to pursue it again. All right, again, we're at 703-348-1663. Excuse me. Kenny is saying, in a VAWA approval, travel doc, how many days can we go out? Oh, you can go out pretty much as long as it's valid. All right, so I would say, don't go out for 2 minutes too long, because what if there's a decision in your case while you're gone? Then you wouldn't be allowed back in, right? So what we want to do is make sure that you are in the country if there's if just in case something bad happens. So I am pretty conservative in terms of advising people to leave when you have travel authorization based on a VAWA and adjustment of status green card application. But it is allowed. We've had clients that have done it. I would say keep it on the shorter end, probably no more than like 1 to 2 months. That's just based on my preference, but legally you can be out as long as your travel authorization is valid. All right. Jats Boy saying, my I-130 is approved, but I don't know what is the next step. So Jats Boy, if your I-130 is approved and the benefit, it depends on who you're sponsoring and where they're located. So the steps can vary for green cards depending on who you are sponsoring and where they are located. Okay, so if the person is located abroad, then the process is totally different than if the person is located here in the US. All right, call us for a consultation, 703-348-1663. All right, great. I'm glad I was able to answer some of your questions. If you don't already like us and follow us on Facebook, TikTok, we're at Agarwal Immigration. Of course, please share this with other people that might have immigration questions and that would benefit from just asking that one-off question to an attorney. If you want to call us for a consultation, feel free. 703-348-1663. And of course, don't forget to like our page, share this with others that might be interested in asking an immigration lawyer. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great holiday for those of you that are celebrating this evening. All right. Bye.